Hi everybody, welcome to Best of British Blackwell. Thank you for tuning in again. Today we've got a real treat for you. We're going to be cooking the winner of the viewers vote, which as you will know was a toss-up between having beef lasagna or homemade beef burgers made using the meat, minced meat sent to me by AP Meats. I'm glad to say that the beef burgers won through, and I'm going to be making mine today with an extra twist. So we'll be showing you that in just a minute. But also today we're going to be cooking another couple of bits and pieces. Today's going to be a bit of an homage to American barbecue. As we probably know, Donald Trump's visiting the UK, and it's all been a little bit controversial. But let's not forget that the Americans are our biggest allies, biggest cousins, and you know, we take a lot of influence from them in the kitchen. I certainly do, and this is a bit of an homage to the stuff that I've learnt from my American friends on YouTube and Facebook. So come over, have a look at the food, have a look at the ingredients, and let's make a start. Firstly, let's have a look at the ingredients for our beef burgers. As you can see here, I've got a kilo of beef mince. As I said, that was sent to me by AP Meats. I'll give you the details on the screen on the bottom here as to how you can go online and purchase some of this for yourself. I'm going to be making my burgers with a slight twist today, which I'm going to explain during the making process. But the other key ingredients for my burgers are some chopped red pepper and white onion, some chopped cooked bacon. We've also got some breadcrumbs here, which acts as a bit of a gelling agent for all of this. And we've got an egg as well, which again, you crack into there with some seasoning, and it helps bind all of these burgers together. What we're going to be doing is constructing these burgers, sticking them in the fridge for a while because of the extra element, the little secret element, which I'm going to show you in a minute, to let them form themselves and firm up a little bit. Then we're going to part cook them, then we're going to finish them off on the barbecue. The other meats that we've got today are cooking away over here. Let me show you. There we go. So I've got the Nova out today, which is the sous vide machine, and in here I've got 4 packs of ribs which have been marinated, then they've been vacuum packed, then they've been stuck in here. They're going to be in here for a total of 15 hours. They're on 150 degrees, so they're going to be really soft. What we're going to do is take these out of here in a couple of hours time. They've got 2 hours 20 minutes to go. Take them out of here, get a barbecue glaze on them, and finish them off on the barbecue. Now the other bits of meat that we've got down here are equally as special. As you can see, these have also been marinated and vacuum packed. These are 2 beautiful sirloin steaks. You'll see I made a video a little while ago of this type of steak where it's been sous vide. These are going to go in the water bath on 120 for about 2 hours. And then finally, the star of the show, the big bad boy, the porterhouse steak or the T-bone steak. Great big thick steak here with a lovely bit of fat running down the side. Beautiful sirloin this side, nice T-bone through the middle, and a lovely bit of fillet steak there as well. Lovely food. Lots of friends and family coming round today. Going to be a really nice day. Let's make a start on these burgers. Okay, let's make a start with these beautiful burgers. As you can see, we've got some lovely mince here. This looks like about 15% fat mince. You can see there's some little flecks of fat in there, which is lovely. That's going to help these burgers cook and bind together beautifully. I'm just putting on some gloves here because I'm going to get my hands in this meat, and again, doing a little bit of gardening this week. I managed to cut my finger and stick a plaster on, so just don't want to risk that falling off in there. Not very nice at all. What we're going to start with is some seasoning in here, so we're going to get ourselves a lovely bit of black pepper, 2 big heaps of that, plenty of salt. Then we're going to go in with our peppers and onions. Make sure we get all of these in here. Beautiful. Then we're going to go in with our bacon. And then just before we go in with the breadcrumbs, we crack the egg in there. Now, as I said, the egg will cook through with the burgers and it will act as a binding agent and stop these burgers from falling apart. That's the worst scenario really when you make your own burgers. Also, something else that's going to really help is lots of people make burgers at home and they tend to press them together with their hands and make patties out of with their hands. Get yourself a burger press. I mean, they're only a couple of quid, and the compression action pushes the meat together and it stops it from falling apart. Well worth it. And then what we do is go in with our hands, start to mix this mixture through. It's going to take a little while. You want to make sure that all of the ingredients are nicely mixed through and nice and equally mixed throughout the meat mixture. And you'll know that when you start to see speckles of every single ingredient diced throughout the meat. It's going to take a couple of minutes, but come back to me when I've finished this. There we go, all nicely mixed together, nicely squeezed in, lots of pressure in the hands, pushing all these ingredients together. Finally, we go in with some breadcrumbs. Now again, this acts as a binding agent. It's going to stop these burgers falling apart. You don't use too many breadcrumbs because you don't want the meat to dry out. It will have a slightly drying effect on the meat, but what you don't want these burgers to do is fall apart. Worst possible thing that can happen to a burger. So again, I'm just going to give this meat another mix, make sure all of these breadcrumbs and ingredients are all equally mixed in. Then we're going to move on to the next part, which is forming these burgers and adding our little secret surprise. Here we go. Let's start to put these burgers together. Firstly, nice piece of greaseproof paper on the bottom of your chopping board here, and as you can see, this is our treat that's going in the middle of these burgers. I'm going to make melt in the middle cheeseburgers here. What you want to do is get a decent size amount of meat, roll it into a ball, squeeze it together, put it on your paper, get your burger press over the top, squeeze it down into a burger. There we go. It really is as simple as that. Now, if I was just making normal burgers, I would leave it at that thickness, but this is just a little bit of a tester, and what I've figured out from here is that that's slightly too thick for the melt in the middle burgers that I want to make. So I'm going to take roughly a third of that away, roll it up into a ball again, press it down again, just making a slightly thinner burger there, as you can see. Then all I do is put that to one side, stick some nice cheese in the middle there, bring another piece of greaseproof paper over, another ball, another burger in the press. Look how easy this is to make with these burger presses. And then what you do is bring this one back over, sit that over the top, and now you want to merge these pieces of meat together. And the easiest way of doing that is getting your fingers involved there, just crimping them together. They're not going to be the prettiest looking burgers, but trust me, these are going to taste divine. Just make sure all the mince is all pinched together in the middle, making a nice parcel around that cheese that's in there. And there you go, that's done. So I'm going to crack on and make a few more of these, and then I'm going to show you the next step of the cooking process. Here we go. With the magic of time, there are my burgers. Beautiful, lovely big burgers. They will shrink down a little bit, you must allow for that. As you can see, beautifully rounded, lovely, and they've got that brilliant cheesy surprise in the middle. So we're going to stick these to one side. Now what I want to do is here, I want to show you why you should make your own burgers at home and why it's worth the effort in doing so. I have got here 2 burger patties that I bought from a supermarket. I'm not going to give you the name of the supermarket, that doesn't matter, it's irrelevant, they're nearly all the same. I'm going to show you the exact same method of sticking some cheese in the middle and squeeze. I've got some offcuts of the cheese that I was using. I'm just going to do it roughly. I'm not trying to, make it a bad experiment. I'm using the same cheese, same ingredients. I just haven't got these bits of cheese cut into a perfect disc. I'm going to stick these in the middle, and I'm going to stick these patties together. I'm going to show you. I'm going to cook them exactly the same way that I'm going to cook my beef patties on the grill. Finish them on the grill after them being in the oven for a bit, and then we're going to see the difference in look, taste and texture after they've been cooked. And I promise you, the ones that you make at home will always be better than the ones that you can buy at the shop. No disrespect to the supermarkets, and there's no disrespect to people that just want to save time and can't be bothered making their own, but trust me, it's completely worth the effort. As you can see, I'm not trying to make a a pig's ear of this. I'm trying to seal them together beautifully and make them look as decent as possible. I don't want this to be a kind of biased test. And we're going to blind test one of our guests later to see which burger they prefer. Let's go. Next step of the process. Next stage of the process is to re-season these burgers. Let's get some salt over the top of them. As they cook in the oven, which is, I mean, firstly let me explain why I'm cooking them in the oven. When barbecuing, I tend to cook a number of meats at the same time, and I want to make sure that these burgers are cooked absolutely perfectly and they're not underdone or too rare in the middle. So it's just a bit of pre-cooking, really. It also helps to ensure that these burgers don't fall apart, because it kind of toughens them up a little bit, and then they're going to go on the barbecue, and then they're going to kind of re-release all of that beautiful flavour again. So they're not going to go in for long. They're going to go in for about in the oven on about 160 for about 15 minutes. That's it. Then we'll finish them off on the barbecue. The reason that I season the top is that this meat is going to give out a few juices, and I want the seasoning to melt back into the meat when I take them out of the oven. Let's put them in. Okay, so while our burgers are in the oven, I'm going to now turn my attention to these ribs. As I've explained, I've had these ribs in overnight. They're coming up to 14 hours now. The thing with the Innova is you can control it all on your phone, so just pressing that button there stops the Innova, stops the cooking process, and what I can do is I can prepare the Innova for the very next ingredient that I want to put in it, which is my steak. So hopefully you can see this on my phone. I'm going to type in steak. I'm going to set the temperature at 125 degrees Fahrenheit, and I want it in there for 2 hours. Simple as that. Set temperature, start Innova, and start cooking anyway. That will start the Innova again. So that's going to get the water temperature down to 125 from 150. That's going to take a little while. This will also send me a little notification to let me know when the water temperature's at the right temperature. So what we can do is now take the lid off of the water bath. I'm going to use the same water for the steak, obviously. Just put this to one side. Now we're going to get these ribs out. Now these ribs we'll put into a barbecue rub with some garlic pepper. I'm going to get my tongs for the other couple. And now the first step is we're going to let these just dry out and cool down a tad before we do anything else. Beautiful. So our ribs have been out for a little while now. What we're going to do is cut the packet open here, and we're going to drain the excess juices off of these ribs. It may seem strange, but actually those juices are not going to be that tasty. They've been in there for so long. Where the good stuff is on this meat. Then we're going to place those into a tray like that, then we can discard the rest of this packaging. Once we've got all of these open, I'll show you an example of what I'm going to do. Just bring this over here for you. What we're going to do is get some beautiful barbecue sauce. I'm not making my own today. This is some shop bought. This is some Bullseye original barbecue sauce. We're going to load that onto the top. I'm going to do every single one of these ribs the same as well. We're going to load that onto the top, paste it over, and make sure that we get a really decent glaze on these ribs. Both sides of these ribs are going to have a coat in this sauce, and then we're going to finish them off on the barbecue grill a little bit later. Really looking forward to these. Okay, so while we were sorting out our ribs, our burgers were in the oven. As you can see, they are cooked through just as much as we want them to be now. They're not completely done. We're going to finish them off on the barbecue. Let me see if I can get you a little bit more of a close-up on these. And I think immediately you'll be able to see the difference between the burgers that I've made here, and here, and these two up here, and this one here. As you can see, still really nice and soft, lots of give in them, still lots of juice in them. I have had one slight mishap here, in as much as one burger has leaked and the cheese has come out, so that's not going to be so much of a surprise for the recipient of that burger. But actually, I'm really happy with the way they're looking at the moment and how they've come out. And what we'll do is now, we'll put them to one side, we'll get some foil over them, cover them over, and then we will grill them on the barbecue to finish them off a little bit later. Now we turn our attention to our steak. Okay, so we put our steaks into the water on 120 about an hour and a half ago, and now we've taken them out. As you can see, the butter's melted really nicely. You can still see there's a little bit of blood in there, so you know that these are still quite rare, and we're just going to finish them off now on the barbecue. So all that remains is to take this out, take these out of the packet, put them on a tray, get them out onto our grill, where we're also going to grill our burgers and our ribs. So now we're at the stage where we're going to start grilling some of the meat that we've prepared in the sous vide. We're going to go first with these ribs. As you can see, the glaze on the ribs is looking really, really good. They only need warming through really. We're going to get them to about 145 degrees and then we're going to serve them up. Okay, so here we go. The ribs have been on now for about 10 or 15 minutes on the grill and they're looking really good. They've got a lovely glaze to them, as you can see. All I'm going to do is take a knife, do this really badly, and cut. Let's try with these ones, which ones I've already cut down the middle there. Cut them into these individual rib pieces and just look at that beautiful meat all the way through. Still nice and soft, still nice and tender, and a lovely glaze on the outside. Now we're going to tuck into these as our starter and move on to the burgers. Okie dokie, so our burgers are now on. As you can see, they're very nearly ready to come off, and we're going to be doing the blind test to see which one of these burgers tastes the best, mine or the shop bought. Okay everybody, so the burgers are off, and what we're going to be using is Jack as an experiment here. He can't actually hear what we're saying, but what I'm going to show you is that this is my burger. This is the burger that's made up from the supermarket burger. What we're going to do is just put the tops on here. I'm going to cut them both open so you can see the effect that we're looking for, and hopefully inside those burgers you can see beautiful bit of cheese in there. Let's see the supermarket one so it's not too biased. Let's see if the cheese has exploded in there as well, and there we go, beautiful burgers. So what we're going to do is we are going to cut another little bit here and put it on a plate so you and I both know what type of burger that is. There, we'll call that burger B, and we'll take this bit here, which is my one, and we'll put that here, and then in a second we're going to call Jack out and see if he can tell the difference. Okay, so this is Jack. Say hello. Hi to everybody, Jack.
Hello.
Lovely. Now we've got our two burgers on here. This is burger A and burger B. Start in your own time, Jack. Tell us what you think.
Okay, I'll start with A. Very nice.
Well, look at the cheese pool.
What?
The cheese pool was amazing.
Not with anything.
Brilliant. Okay, Oliver Oscar wants to get into a little bit of action here.
That's some afterwards.
You can have some after.
Right, burger B.
Burger B. We're all dying to hear. So, two questions. Which burger tasted the best?
First one, by far.
Burger A.
Softest.
And which burger do you think I made?
Obviously, A. It's got to be.
Of course it is. There you go, everybody. So it wins over. Now, I'm really sweaty. Now, we're going to move on to cooking these steaks while we enjoy these burgers. That's next up. Woo! Okay, so now we've got our steaks on. We're done with our burgers. We're done with our ribs. And they're grilling really well. They're really not going to need that long. As you saw earlier, they've been in that water bath for about 2 hours. Let's give this T-bone a turn over. Look at that. Beautiful. Those sirloins a turn over. Just get a bit of colour on that meat, and then we're going to be ready to serve these up. Okie dokie, so we're ready to take this T-bone off. We'll just move it away from the flames. As you can see, a lovely bit of fat's catching the flame there. We'll just move that away. Oh, that is just throwing a ball at the barbecue, which is always good fun. And then we're just going to turn this piece of sirloin off. Yeah, as you will notice, I've taken a piece of sirloin off already. That's because we want one to be medium rare, we want the other one to be medium, both bits of meat are going to come off now. We're going to let them rest, and then we're going to show you a nice close-up of when we cut these open. So we've cooked this little bit here to be medium rare, and I've cut a few bits already, but as you can see, look at that. You know, still pink in the middle, still very, very moist, still very juicy. Now we're going to move on to this one here, which we left on a little bit longer. This shouldn't be so pink in the middle, and as you can see there, it's, you know, quite similar, but actually done a lot more the more you cut inside. Now for this T-bone. Best way to serve this T-bone up is to cut it away from the bone, get the sirloin off in one straight line, and then cut around the bone here, just going backwards a little bit. And you will see, once we finally get this bit of meat off, that this is done to a medium rare. Look at that. Beautiful, lovely and pink in the middle, lovely and moist. That's the sirloin side. This is the fillet side, which shouldn't be as pink as the sirloin, but still not a million miles away. And what we'll do is we'll cut this down the middle first so you get a beautiful look at that. There we go. That's absolutely perfect. These have been sous vide, as you know, for about 2 hours. I'm going to try a little tiny bit of the fillet here, because this is the chef's perk. Lovely. So, give the burgers a go and buy yourself an Anova sous vide machine. Thanks for watching. See you next time.